Looking to make this summer the summer you overcome your roller coaster fears? Well, stay tuned today for some top tips from someone who's been there and done that at Alton Towers. Hey coaster chicken fans, we're here today, soul searching a little bit really, going back to my roots. Now I started on Instagram, YouTube about 3 years ago, and I started with the idea of conquering the rides that I was too scared to do. I'll be honest, there was 2 coasters I'd do here when I first started these channels, and that was Alton Towers, Runaway Mine Train. Come a long way, not going to lie to you, I'll get on everything here, there's nothing I'm scared of now. So I'm going to take you along with me today and give you some top tips on how to conquer your fears here at Alton Towers. Let's go. So the first top tip for you is get here early. Now the park's officially open normally at 10 o'clock, but you can actually come usually about an hour before, get through the gates and have a wander. Now the rides usually aren't open. And some of the shops don't tend to be open, but you can grab a coffee, you can have a walk around and eye up what you're going to conquer that day. So I'd say top tips, you can get in the first queue of the day as well, just get you on the first ride as quick as possible. So I'd say if you can, get here about an hour beforehand and make use of that time. Now I haven't followed my own advice here today, so we might experience a few queues as we're here, but I'm going to head over. I'm going to try and show you the rides to conquer in the order that I conquered them in. I just think kind of that was probably the best thing to do in regards to fears. So for me, rides terrified me because they were tall, the restraints, anything on my chest terrified me, speeds, inversions, big drops. So I'm going to go around the park. I'm going to take you to the one first achieved. So let's go. So I'm going to take you around the park. We're going to conquer the rides in the order that I've conquered them. Just to give you a bit of an idea of my journey. And if that helps you conquering the rides and getting past them, then you know what, I'm glad to help. But I'm going to give you the reasoning why as well. Give you some top tips as we go around. So we're heading towards the back of the park. Now this is another top tip. I'd always say, if you can, start at the back of the park, because it's usually the quietest bit. So if you go over towards the dark forest early in the morning, as long as the rides are open, you get them done really quick. And then when they get busier later on, you haven't got to worry about going back. So, top tip if you are superstitious, and that's going to add to the fear. As you walk into a 13, above you, you will walk above some ladders. If that's something that's not for you, there is a little bit of a walkway that side, and what I'll do, I'll show you on the way back around. There's actually a walkway that avoids this all completely. So if you are superstitious, that will affect your ride. Walk the long way or down the end where there's no ladders. So we've made it over to what I think should be the first step on your journey to thrills. That's 13. It's a family thrill coaster, 1.2 height requirement, and so not too much. Now my trick, coming here first did work. Look, we're on 5-minute queue here. Even Rita, the other ride in this area, that's down, so you'd have thought this would have been a bit busier. It isn't. Top tip really is to start at the back of the park, work your way. You may be wondering why I'm suggesting 13 as the first big thrill ride to try. Now I don't think this is especially too thrilling. One thing I'd always recommend with any of these coasters before you see them, pop on YouTube. There are plenty of websites, plenty of channels dedicated to bringing you POV videos, point of view videos that show you the rides and how you'll experience them, what you'll see as you run them. Now this channel, with us not being a big channel, a lot of places we don't get to do POVs. There are places we do, and we always stick them up if we can, just to give you the idea. I think it's really important. But with 13, it's not a lot to it. There is a big drop at first. It's not massive though. It's quite a fair drop really, but it is big. It is pretty much the most thrilling element. There's also a spoiler element, a bit of a secret element. I'm going to tell you about it now, so please skip if you don't want to know. But about halfway through the ride, you go into a building, door closes behind you, take a very, very small drop, and then a much greater 6-foot drop Okay, so it becomes like a drop tower as such in the coaster, and then you fire off backwards, and the rest of the ride really is done backwards. So if you don't like drops, like drop tower style drops, if you don't like going backwards, bear that in mind. They are there, they are elements of this ride. They make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit different. Otherwise it really would be a very boring ride. It'd be kind of akin to Runaway Mine Train really, but we're going to get on this one first. Now we are in the queue for 13. It's quite a walk, but what I really like about 13 queue that will really help ease nerves is that you don't really see the coaster. Now, a lot of the time, yeah, you've watched the POVs, yeah, you think you're brave enough. You get in that queue, especially if it's slow moving, and you can see the coaster above your head, hurtling around. That's a put off straight away. Now, with 13, you don't really see that at all. There's maybe 1 or 2 points in the whole entire queue that you will see the ride. So you haven't got time really to build it up in your head. Not a great queue, there's not a lot to it, but like I say, there's nothing to walk around worrying about. So if you are nervous about getting on this ride, just get in the queue. You know what I mean? You've got nothing to lose. There's nothing here to kind of put you off. Now 13, once again, it is a lap bar ride, it is family friendly, like I say, 1.2 metre requirement. Now for me, the stuff on my chest was one of the first hurdles I had to kind of get past, so this one was a lot easier with not having that there to worry about. Opening in 2010, this roller coaster drops 60 foot and reaches speeds of 42 miles per hour. So that's the first ride done, that's 13. Like I said before, it's a great little family coaster. It does seem quite scary when you think about it. It's a 1.2 metre, so accessible to all really. A few things I just wanted to quickly cover off there. I remember when I was from riding that ride today, so the big drop at the front, at the start, really good at the front, really good at the back. Okay, for the front, it's because you get that view, the view of dropping, really good. On the back, it just whips really fast at the end, so if you're looking for more of a thrilling experience, either try the front or the back. The travelling backwards bit, I know I made a big deal of it first time, but in all honesty, it's nothing. It's very slow, it's not much of a downward drop. It's nothing really, so if you're worried about the background bit, travelling backwards, don't worry about it, it's nothing. The drop, that is still very thrilling, the dark drop, like a drop tower, it's still thrilling. Do a little one at first, and that's nothing, and then a few seconds later you get a much bigger drop, like I say, 6 foot drop. But like I say, it is a family thrill coaster, so perfect starter. I'm going to head over now to the other side of the park to show you the second one. And the only other coaster I'd kind of say is family thrill, so see you over there now. So we've made it outside now, ride number 2 on your journey of thrills. This is Wicker Man. Now actually, there's not a lot thrill wise between the two, this and 13. They're both very similar in a lot of ways. They're both family thrill coasters, 1.2 height limits. They're both lap bars. They both have considerably scary theming for what's really a family thrill coaster, and I think that is part of the reason why it took me such a long time to get on rides like this. It's the theming more than anything. It's got a dark story. Both of them have, both this and 13. Dark story, dark theming pieces, and this one's got a pre-show as well. I'm going to be honest with you, this one was never supposed to be number 2, it was always supposed to be the first one. I do love a good wooden coaster, and I'd kind of done all the wooden coasters at Blackpool at this point. So oh, this would be quite an easy one to do. Now the first time we came, probably about 5 years ago now, to Alton Towers, got in the queue for this, with it being the brand new roller coaster. We're really excited. As I walk through the queue, obviously you get views of the ride going around you, which is always a lot scarier than when you see it on a video. When it's rattling round you, adds a whole other level to it. The other thing with this one as well is that because it is a wooden coaster, that obviously you can see the wood moving as it goes around, the wooden bases, the supports and stuff. So it is a little bit more, a little scarier. A little bit scarier, so yeah, for sure. It's definitely one, though, family thrill, so 1.2 metres, the perfect coaster to try and get on next. Like I say, theming is really dark. I'm going to show you some of the pre-show. It's scary, the younger riders can get scared. I've seen screams in there, stuff like that. Coaster itself, there's a few higher points, really good airtime hills, but nothing too intense.
Beyond. For hundreds of years our family has lived in these woods, led by the spirit of the Wicker Man. The elders told us of a day when he would rise to give us freedom and eternal well-being. But to start that ritual, we must present him with a gift. And that gift is you. You and the flame. It is time. He is here. What an honor to see yourself bound in wicker, encased in his soul. And you see yourself.
The nearest roller coaster, Alton Towers, Wicker Man reaches max speeds of 44 miles per hour and takes a drop of 72 foot. So that is Wicker Man done. That was ride number 2. Second ride I conquered here at Alton Towers. Wooden coasters, really good, and for some reason don't find them anywhere near as scary as steel coasters. Now that one has really scary theming. Like I said, put in some footage of the pre-show, because the pre-show is the element that may make your younger kids scared. They may hit the height requirements, but that might put them off. It's really fast. It is quite a fast one. Some days really hauls around the track. I've just had a fantastic ride on there, to be fair. If you're looking for the best experience you can get on this one, what I'd probably advise is, if you're here at night, do it at night. Nothing like a ride on Wicker Man in the dark, for sure. Like I say, not too scary, that one. Is fast. There are a couple of bit drops. You don't really notice them all that much, because like I say, it is so fast. And that theming is scary, but apart from that, you got this one. So one of the things I'd really say, worth doing really, when you're trying to overcome your fears, is first to work out what about roller coasters actually gives you fears. Break those things down. For me, used to be speed. I used to get this worry that we go so fast and be able to breathe. Heights, still scared of heights now. You know what I mean? Get to the top of Blackpool Tower, look down. Ooh! Inversions. I couldn't even imagine doing another inversion after Nemesis. And for me as well, restraints. So for me, two different problems with restraints. They either don't feel safe enough, they feel loose, and you feel like you're going to fall out, or they're too tight. There's something really panicking about being in those stations, getting into the ride, and then realising this restraint isn't for you and you're terrified. Well, here's a top tip at Alton Towers. The rides do have test seats. There's one here at Wicker Man. There's usually outside of the ride. It just means you can get in, pass yourself in. They're really there to test whether you can fit into the ride. But I think why not use them to test whether you can brave this? Because, you know what I mean, there's nothing worse than kind of getting into that station, queuing for half an hour, whatever you've had to queue for, and then getting in and realising it's too much and panicking. So give it a test seat, get the test seats done, check it out. You know, if you are bigger like myself, they're worth doing anyway, just to make sure you fit in. But then, like I say, as a backup, work out whether it feels safe to you. Now I've got another top tip for you to save money when you're at the theme parks. So obviously buying a bottle of drink every time you're thirsty can become quite expensive. You can bring your own water bottle, and there are plenty of water refill stations across the park. So get your water, bring like some juice or some squash with you. Beautiful. So we've officially made it to number 3, ride number 3. Now this one may be the third one I conquered, but I've got to be honest with you, after riding it and riding it, I still put this as one of the most intense roller coaster Alton Towers, depending on one thing, and that's weight distribution. Sometimes you get that weight distribution just right, and you spin like no other thing I've ever seen. So if you don't like spinning, this may not be the ride for you. I'm going to be honest, it's not that high. There's some really good elements on here, but like I say, that extra spinning element really does make it a lot more intense. With the right weight distribution, you can reach speeds of 37 miles per hour and be subjected to 3 Gs of force on Spinball Wizard. So that is Spinball Wizard done. Didn't get as good a spin as I do sometimes, but it's enough. That was enough, and sometimes you really can come off dizzy. If you don't like spinning, that is one to avoid. I've learned something today, something new. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but the ride up was telling us when we came off, they can't allow you to just stay on the ride and re-ride it. You need to have at least 2 minutes break in between each ride because of the dizziness. Now, I don't know if that's true, or if that's just him saying you've got to go back through. Who knows? But I'd like to think that is true because it can be very, very dizzy. Woo. So that's all the family thrill coasters done. Like I say, Spinball, it's as intense as a lot of the bigger coasters too, but from now on all the coasters we do, they're all 1.4 metres and above to ride. I'm going to check out what I think is the least intense. Well, probably not the least intense, but the first one that I actually braved, the first one I was brave enough to do of the 1.4 metre coasters. So let's go. So we've made it outside. First 1.4 metre roller coaster I ever took on here, Rita, the Queen of Speed. Now I chose this one, a couple of reasons really. It's not really super tall. It's tall in places. You can see where the track's painted green. That's so it doesn't kind of stick out against the tree line. That was part of the kind of the council mandate when they asked to build this ride. So it's not dead tall. It is fast though. It is very, very fast. That launch is incredibly powerful. You will feel it. So if you're not ready for a launch, it may not be for you. Try Icon first before you do this one. But yeah, once you're ready for this, it's incredible. I love it. It is only 20 odd seconds long, 27 seconds I think, but you do feel it. You come off with a proper buzz on this one, and even now unfortunately it is shut at the moment, so I'm not going to get that buzz today. I'm hoping I'll get that buzz later, fingers crossed. So yeah, the restraints on this one, I really like these. So these give you that security of the over shoulder, so they don't feel too much, they don't feel like they're on you too much. Really nice. They're the same on a few different Intamin roller coasters, to be fair, Cheetah Hunt, Stealth, but yeah, they feel secure, they don't feel over secure, so I like this one. Really do recommend this one. Rita accelerates from 0 to 61.1 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds, hurtling riders to 4.7 Gs of force. Now, it's not just coasters to conquer while you're here at Alton Towers. There are some flat rides. They're not many and they're not very intense. They're usually found around the family parts of the park. So, CBeebies Land, David Walliams World, Mutiny Bay. There is one in Forbidden Valley that we'll have a quick pit stop over by. There are a couple of water rides as well. Nothing thrilling as such. You've got the rapids and you've got battle galleons. If you don't want to get wet, don't get on battle galleons. You'll get soaked, okay? You don't like water. What I want to talk about is the dart rides. There are 3 dart rides here. Well, 4, but one isn't open at the moment, so we can't talk about that one. The 3 that are open, varying degrees of fright or horror or scare that you get. Let's check the first one out over here. To the curse at Alton Manor. Of the 3 dark rides currently open, and this is the middle ground. Okay, so it's still a bit scary. It's got a very dark, scary theme. Some very scary moments in the ride, but no kind of thrill effects as such. No inversions, no fast speeds, no launches, nothing like that. It's all physical props, frights, and stuff like that. But we're going to get on it because I think it's a cracking dark ride. So we made it into the queue for Cursed Alton Manor. Now, this is a little bit unnerving at night. You're walking through a cemetery. I know it's not a real cemetery, but the theming is definitely here. The extended queue's closed at the moment because it is a quiet day, so we're just going to go straight on. That was another ride, another weekly ride on the Curse. I love the Curse, I think it's a great ride. Like I said before, it's very dark, it's scary, there's a lot of effects in there. So if it's your first time, be prepared to be scared, okay? Another top tip for you when you are coming to Alton Towers, it's a massive park. You can actually fit Magic Kingdom at Disney into this park 5 times. 5 times. If you know how big that park is, you get a sense of just how much ground you're going to tread around here. Okay, so don't underestimate that, don't underplay that. That's something that's going to happen. So you need sensible footwear. You want footwear. It's not going to rub you, but it's not going to fall off either on rides. There's nothing worse than trying to handle your own fears of something while also worrying about your shoes coming off.
It's one of Phalanx's most recent acquisitions, and potentially its most exciting.
So we've made it outside Nemesis Subterra. Now, terror is in the name, so Fright Factor is high on this. Ride-wise, going to let you into a little bit of a spoiler. It's a drop tower. It's not a massive drop tower, but it is a drop tower nonetheless. So if you're not a fan of drop towers, it's not for you. It is only one drop, and it doesn't shoot you up first. It's literally drop and then a slow ascent back up. There's lots of physical effects. It's a really good story. There used to be scare actors, now they don't tend to be. But I do want to warn you, if you're not a fan of people jumping out at you, that may happen. It may happen sometimes, but it doesn't happen very often. So we made it over to Gangster Gran, the other dark ride. Now this is the very family friendly one. It's aimed at little kids, so you're going to be completely and utterly fine on this. It's a great one to get on with the kids. I love the story of Gangster Granny, I've got to be honest, it is really good. It's not really well told in here, I've got to be honest. Shock horror. It's not a great dark ride, to be fair. There is obviously just one little thing I'd warn you about. If you don't like loud noises, sudden loud noises, there's a point towards the end of the ride where you've met the Queen, cannon goes off. So be prepared for that. I remember the first time I did it, it did take me by surprise, okay? That's the only thing though to kind of bear in mind. So normally I don't bother with this one, but I'm going to go on it today, so let's go.
Who is the Black Cat? The Black Cat is a world-renowned jewel-thief.
Be on the lookout.
Now one thing we can't ride, but I can't not talk about, is Hex, the Legend of the Towers. This dark ride is up there with one of the scarier experiences in the park. So if you're scared of dark, you're scared of ghosts, this one will put you on edge. It's a true story. The ride's based on what happened to the Earl of Shrewsbury in the local tree. not going to ruin it too much, but very scary story. It's getting redone this year, some new bits and pieces to the pre-show I've heard. So can't pass too much judgment, but before, the pre-show was scary, it was on the scary end. Now the ride itself is a Vekoma Madhouse. Now if you've not done one of those before, I'm going to give you a bit of a spoiler. Basically, you're in a barrel in a building. Now the barrel moves around, you move slightly, and because it moves in the opposite direction, it tricks your brain into thinking you're going upside down. Now you don't go upside down at any point, shape or form. So if you're scared of going upside down, it's going to give your brain the thoughts that you are going upside down, but it isn't actually going upside down. That's a big point there. It doesn't matter too much though, because your brain will think it. No matter how many times I've been on a ride like this, no matter how many times I know how this ride works, still tricks my brain. Still think I'm going upside down at that point. Hold on tight. So you will get that fear, you will get that sensation as you're riding. But I think it's a great story. Really well told. Can't wait for it to reopen and see what they've changed to it. You've overcome your fear of dark rides, of the coasters here, and you're looking for something else a bit thrilling. Why don't you try the Alton Towers dungeons? Now this one is an upcharge, okay. It's got a boat ride in there though that is terrifying, and some great shows. The witch scene at the end is particularly terrifying. It's definitely worth trying if you have got that time, you've got that extra money to give it a go. So we've made it outside Galactica now. This was the next big thrill, and it was a big rise to be fair. It's the first one on my scale really, with inversions. So all the others before this point didn't have inversions. Okay, now this one does, has several. It's not the only thing that makes this one a bit more intimidating than other roller coasters. So with this one, instead of sitting down, you lay flat on your stomach. So nothing like it at the park at all. Nothing really like it in the UK, I've got to be honest. It's not much like this. Not much at all like this one. So yeah, the fear factor really does raise at this point. You've got a roller coaster that goes upside down multiple times, where you're not on your feet, you've not got your feet on the floor. In fact, you're on your belly. So it is a lot. It's a big jump up. It's a big jump up. So I want to show you the seating on this one. So it's not necessarily in on your chest really bad like the other B&M models that I'm going to show you in a bit, but you are kind of on your chest like. There are special things here that clip into your legs as well, so they clip in like that. Oh well, this one doesn't, but they do. Trust me, they do. I would see it. This is the way it goes in like that to hold you in. So you're perfectly safe in the ride. It's just a really unique experience, really, being on your belly, on your front, really, instead of sat up. Really unusual. So that is a ride there on Galactica. Now, Galactica, getting in the queue for Galactica felt like a massive jump when I first got on that one. I've got to be honest, I only got on it because some friends did it with me. Otherwise, I think I kind of probably would have kept putting it off. And it was a massive jump in helping me conquer rides. Once you've got that one that you go, actually, that looks impressive, that looks a lot, and you've done it. You know what I mean? You're on to a winner. You're on to a winner, really. The thing with Galactica though, it looks intimidating, and the sensation the first time you ride it being on your belly is you know, mind-blowing really at first, but actually it's a really chill ride. It's actually really nice, and I really enjoy this one. I've got to be honest, I do this one plenty of times because it's nice. You can have a nice relax on it. You've got inversions and you've got the unique element of being on your belly, but for me, really, really unique. It's about to come through the hole now, so here we go. Chef's kiss, chef's kiss. On Galactica, you fly 20 metres above the ground. It features 2 inversions and puts you through 3.5 Gs of force. So yeah, let's go over now to the next ride I conquered. Now this is a big jump up, this one, and this one is considered a thrill ride, so let's go. So we made it outside the Smiler. Now this one, obviously without even pressing too far, inversions. If you don't like inversions, this ain't going to be for you. This one is the world's most inversion roller coaster. It's got more inversions than any other roller coaster in the world. 14 inversions. So if you're trying to overcome your fear of inversions, this is the one, because you're going to get on pretty much every version of an inversion you can think of, really, bar a few. There are a few other things, though, to be scared of here. So there's 2 airtime hills that are really good. And the worst bit for me, the vertical lift hill. I'm still not a fan of the vertical lift hill, so instead of a normal lift hill where you go like this, you go straight up. Terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Still gets me now, to be fair, but got over inversions, you can too. This is the ride to do it. So if the ride doesn't make you struggle, the queue may as well. So the queue, a bit like a rat's maze. I've never really thought of it like this, but it is. You're all encased in this cage. Now I'm in the single rider, so it isn't as bad. But in the normal queue, you will be like through as if you're a rat in a test subject, really. The noise, that song blasts out when you get closer to the station. Oof, get tinnitus at the end of that. I prefer to use a single rider myself now that I've overcome it, but obviously riding on your own when you're scared of it probably isn't for you, is it? And I know it wasn't for me. I couldn't have done it on my own first time. With a drop height of over 98 foot, this ride will hurtle guests 52 miles per hour and reach G-forces of 4.6 Gs. So that is Smiler done, and if you've managed to achieve that, you've actually had a world record breaking roller coaster experience. You know what I mean? Put that in your book, you've achieved something big here. When it comes to braving rides, now for me, if you're trying to beat inversions, there's nothing better because 14 different inversions on here to do, and so you come off this, inversions are not going to worry you at all, so give yourself a pat on the back. Now with Smiler, with it being a world record breaker, queues always quite long. So even if you come here and start the day, you're going to find this one's going to have a long queue. If you are over it, you're not worried about it anymore, you're not worried, you're on your own, single rider is the way to go. I've just done single rider, the queue 45 minutes, but it's a quiet day today. I've done it in 5, so you know what I mean. Definitely worth hitting that single rider queue if you're brave enough to. I think one of the top tips I've got for you, overcoming whatever you fear with theme parks and roller coasters is to work out what it is and then break it apart bit by bit. So for example, if it's inversions, take on a family coaster with an inversion. Chessington World of Adventures has got Mandrill Mayhem, that's a perfect starter for you. Get on that, it's got 1 inversion, you survive that, level up to the next one, 2 inversions, 3 inversions, 4 inversions. Every time you overcome one, celebrate the win, get that medal, get that ride photo, get that t-shirt, whatever you need to remind yourself of overcoming that fear. And ultimately you'll get to the top, you'll get to 14 inversions on Smiler or Heights, for example. You'll get to kind of Big One or Hyperia eventually. You just got to work your way up, so break it down. Don't go all the way in, don't go, Smiler first ride, because ultimately that will make things worse. So top tip, break your fears down and celebrate your accomplishments. You've done a ride you didn't think you'd ever do, celebrate it. So this is the Blade, this is the flat ride I was talking about before. This is the only flat ride I'd say kind of in the park that isn't specifically for kids. Like I say, it's themed to kind of the Nemesis Phalanx kind of area. Just a pirate ship really. As you can see, it doesn't go upside down, it doesn't go very high either. But if you don't like pirate ships, or you're just starting out on your theme park journey, this can be quite thrilling. Like I say, it's a nice little experience. I like a pirate ship, but it's not too intense. So we've made it over to the ride that put Alton Towers on the map really. Probably one of the most intense roller coasters, not just here, not just at this park, but in the UK for sure really. Nemesis was actually the roller coaster that put me off rides really. When I was young, when I was 10 and I first hit that kind of high requirement to get on roller coasters, this was the one my dad wanted to get me on. And as soon as the chest restraint went on, pressed down, I was absolutely terrified. Started to panic a lot, and then all of a sudden, all I remember was coming back round, so I must have passed out. I came back round. To be fair, around this element here, and then I threw up. So, passing out on a ride, then throwing up, is enough to put you off for 20 years. Been back on it plenty of times since, but it was one that I left towards the very end. There's only one other coaster here that scares me more than Nemesis, and we'll go see that one in a moment. But let's get on Nemesis Reborn. So we're on a 5-minute wait here for Nemesis Reborn. It'd be cheeky not to get on it. So top tips to conquer Nemesis. I'm going to be honest, this one is intense. Like I said, probably one of the most intense roller coasters, not just here at Alton Towers, but in the UK. So be prepared for this one. Watch those POVs, get those POVs down, nail them, make sure you're ready, make sure you've conquered the other rides up to this point, because this is intense. Like I say, you've got multiple inversions. You will feel those G-forces in many elements. Like I say, the chest restraints on a B&M are always kind of really tight as well, and you will feel them on your chest. If you're not a fan of that feeling, you know what I mean, that feeling of being trapped, this may not be for you. But like I say, once you've conquered this, you can do anything really, I think, because this is, without a doubt, one of the most intense roller coasters here. With 4 inversions and reaching 50 miles per hour, this roller coaster was Europe's most intense roller coaster, delivering 3.5 Gs of force. So that was my ride there on Nemesis. You could almost call this my Nemesis. Gotta be honest, at the point I conquered this, gotta be honest, I started to think to myself, I could do any of them. There was one that I was still terrified to do. We'll head over to there now. Now we've officially made it outside what I think is the most intense, most scary roller coaster here at Alton Towers. This one for me, I said it was a one and done, but in all honesty, I've done it a few times now, and I still regret it every time. It still terrifies me every single time. No matter how many times I've done it, it is a lot. It's not a lot for a ride, but the experience itself is a lot. So I've talked Oblivion up, but what actually is Oblivion? So Oblivion is a B&M dive machine. Basically, coaster goes up quite high, touch you down, and then you vertically drop. That experience is terrifying, not going to lie, it gets me every single time, especially when you're perched right at the top. Years ago you say, don't look down before you plunge. Now it just plunges, but you're still held there for a few seconds. The ride itself, there's not a lot to it, to be fair. For me to say it's the most intense roller coaster at the park is weird, but literally there's nothing like that drop. And that's all it is. You drop into a dark hole and then you come out the other side there and see the experience, probably 10-15 seconds. Most of the ride's made up of going up the big lift hill and parking in the stations, but I'm not joking, this is terrifying. And I I would not have done this one for a very long time. Right now, I've got to be honest, it still terrifies me now. So yeah, we've got the restraint here now. This is very similar to the Nemesis restraint, to be fair. And this is what used to terrify me more than anything, Seb. It is over the shoulder. It just locks in here. So you do feel quite trapped. It is quite a secure one, maybe too secure. It used to really terrify me. I guess as I've got older, done more of these kind of coasters, it doesn't bother me so much. But if you are somebody that does struggle with having things pressed up against your chest, this one may be a cause for concern. Believe it or not, Oblivion is the fastest roller coaster at Alton Towers, reaching top speeds of 68 miles per hour and plummeting you 180 foot into oblivion. That right there is my ride on Oblivion. So, if you've managed Oblivion now, you've ticked off all the roller coaster Alton Towers, well done. Real achievement, especially felt like it for me. You know what I mean? Started 3 years ago, only riding Runaway Mine Train, Octonauts if I could get away with it, to doing everything in the park. If you followed this journey along and you've managed to achieve something, you've managed to conquer some rides, let us know. Well done. It's a massive thing to celebrate. You should be proud of anything you managed to overcome, any fear you managed to beat. So you've done it. You are a legend. Now, top tip for you here, if you have got the money available, one of the things that does put people off, especially me, I know, it's put me off on several rides, is the fact that as you're queuing, the rides are going off above your head, all that kind of thing. You can see the rides, and I'll be honest, it can be worrying, it can be scary, it can definitely put you off, and there's plenty of times I've had to duck out halfway through the queue because it's just got to me. It's why Wicker wasn't my first 1.2 coaster here. But you can pay for a fast track. That gets you at like a queue jump, basically. Puts you through kind of past the queues. It just means you're not hanging about, seeing the rides above your head. They are quite costly. I think a single use is £10 usually. But yeah, if you are desperate to conquer something, that ride going off above your head is what stopped you. Get a fast track. So that draws an end to my guide here to help you face your ride anxieties at Alton Towers. If you found it useful in any way, shape or form, please drop me a comment, let us know. If you've got any tips to help anyone else fighting their ride anxieties, drop them down as well. I'll share them on my platforms. So, if you've followed along and you've braved the rides like we have, you've come to the end of the journey here at Alton Towers, and you're probably thinking, what's next? I'll tell you what's next. We've got Project Horizon coming over that end. We've also got Project Ocean, so whatever those are, however scary they are, we will be here to tackle them. I'll bring you along, try and help you overcome your fears too. Like I say, if you found anything useful, let us know. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will hatch you again soon.